The last few hours completely changed the mood in Baltimore. Just when it felt like another major question could derail the week, a piece of news dropped hard, clear, and with immediate impact. Mark Andrews suddenly became the center of the conversation. And this time, for exactly the reason everyone wanted to hear before a game of this magnitude. And don't rush past this, because it's not just a random good update. This changes how you read the matchup, shifts expectations, and alters the weight of the offense heading into what's coming. Stick with me until the end, because understanding what this really means can completely change how you see what the Ravens are capable of doing on the field. When the week first started, the concern was real and uncomfortable. Mark Andrews showed up on the injury report with a glut issue, and that's always a red flag, especially for someone this important to the offense. He wasn't a full participant every day, had some limited practices, and that alone was enough to keep uncertainty hanging in the air. In a game this big, every small detail becomes a worry. But as the days went by, the picture started to clear up. Andrews responded well, didn't have any setbacks, and in the end, the decision was straightforward. According to NFL Network, he has no game designation. In plain terms, he's cleared, he's available, and he's playing. This isn't a maybe or a we'll see on Sunday. He's ready. That completely changes how you look at the Ravens' offense. Andrews isn't just another target. He helps organize the offense, draws coverage, creates space for others, and brings stability in critical moments. His presence alone forces defenses to adjust from the very first snap, especially in a physical divisional matchup like this one. And when you zoom out and look at the offense as a whole, that confirmation carries even more weight. Having Andrews available brings relief, but also highlights an important contrast within the offensive group. While he's clear to go, other names are still surrounded by uncertainty, and that difference helps explain why every bit of news this week directly impacts what the Ravens can or can't do in this game. Even with Mark Andrews cleared, the Ravens' offense isn't entering this matchup in perfect shape. Rashad Bateman remains listed as questionable, and that's never a minor detail in a divisional week. That designation means there's a real limitation involved, something that can affect everything from his burst and routes to his confidence accelerating after the catch, and it changes how the offense behaves from the opening drive. When a key outside target is surrounded by question marks, the ripple effect goes far beyond his name on the report. The offensive game plan has to be built more carefully, accounting for scenarios where he can't finish the game or simply can't perform at his normal level. That leads to constant adjustments, more conservative reads, and less freedom to stretch the field vertically. In that environment, the offense leans even harder on players who provide stability. That's where Andrews becomes crucial, not just as a reliable target, but as someone who helps set the tempo, keeps things organized, and prevents a unit from falling apart when options start shrinking. He becomes a balancing point in the middle of uncertainty. And this makes it clear that the issue isn't just who's available. It's how the offense responds when things aren't perfectly under control. That struggle to maintain rhythm, even with its top pieces on the field, helps explain why the recent numbers raise bigger concerns. Mark Andrews is still involved, and the stats back that up. Over the last 3 games, he's caught 6 passes for 65 yards, showing he's still part of the offensive plan and being targeted in meaningful moments. He hasn't vanished, hasn't been ignored, and continues to do his job within the structure of the offense. The issue starts when you look at what isn't happening. Andrews hasn't scored a touchdown since Week 11 against the Browns, and that points to a broader, collective problem. The offense can move the ball between the 20s, but it tightens up in the red zone, loses its edge in short yardage situations, and struggles to turn solid drives into points. When an offense is operating at the level it's supposed to, players like Andrews become killers near the goal line. They're featured on third and short, on design plays meant to finish drives. When that impact disappears, it's not about talent. It's about execution, timing, and confidence breaking down. That feeling of an offense that moves but doesn't hurt anyone keeps showing up week after week. And it's not being ignored internally. That frustration was voiced clearly by the coaching staff, making it obvious that the discomfort has gone far beyond just looking at the stat sheet.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important, because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Todd Monken chose simple words, but they were incredibly revealing when he talked about the offense. Comparing the good moments of being at a carnival and the bad ones to sitting in a dentist chair isn't just a joke. It's an honest snapshot of what this unit experiences week to week. It's the difference between playing loose and playing while bracing for pain on every snap. That comment shows the inconsistency isn't being treated as normal. There's real frustration, a sense of working too hard for too little return, and a clear understanding that when the offense gets stuck, everything feels heavier than it should. Every play turns into a test of patience. When a coordinator speaks like that, he's acknowledging that the group still hasn't found a stable identity. And that lack of identity comes at a high cost, especially in big games, where small mistakes quickly snowball into losses that are hard to recover from. That weight grows even heavier when the opponent is the same team that already beat you. The memory of that last loss doesn't disappear. It follows the entire week of preparation, making it clear that the next game isn't just about fixing things, but about answering back. The loss to the Bengals on Thanksgiving didn't fade away. It's still right there because the rematch comes fast and with even bigger consequences. Losing twice in a row to a divisional rival means giving up control of your season, both in the standings and mentally. This game isn't just another date on the schedule. It determines whether the Ravens stay alive in division race or slip into survival mode. Needing outside help just to keep playoff hopes alive. The pressure is immediate, and there's no room to stumble. That's why every issue discussed leads right here. Andrews being cleared, Bateman's uncertainty, production that doesn't turn into points, and the coaching staff's open frustration are all part of the same equation. Everything points to the need for a complete performance. This is a kind of matchup that separates stable teams from shaky ones. Either the offense responds, finds its rhythm, and flips the narrative, or the season starts slipping through their fingers. There's no comfortable takeaway after this game, only consequences. In the end, everything boils down to one clear truth. Having Mark Andrews on the field changes the equation. For an offense that's been inconsistent, dealing with injuries and execution issues, getting its top weapon back brings stability, confidence, and a real foundation to build on. He doesn't fix everything by himself, but he raises the ceiling of what this offense can be. So the question that has to be asked is simple and unavoidable. With Andrews out there, do you believe the offense finally answers a call and takes that step that's been missing in big games? Because this matchup isn't just about availability. It's about turning good news into real production when it matters most. The moment is here, the margin for error is gone, and the pieces are being set on the board. What the Ravens do from this point forward will say a lot about where the season is headed. And this game could be the turning point they've been waiting for.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself.